probably the last time I get to reflect now on the season just gone before we start thinking fully about the new season. You've had not quite a couple of weeks yet, but what are your thoughts now on Brackley, Alfreton and all the madness that we've had?
I'm still a bit shocked, and the feeling's quite surreal, but absolutely delighted first and foremost, and nothing more than what this club deserves. Fantastic end to the season, something that will live in memory, I guess. As big as the cup run last year, I believe. 9 wins on the bounce to get us where we wanted was some achievement, and full credit to everyone at the football club.
Yeah, on one hand, we kept doing, in terms of principles and the basics and working hard, none of that ever stopped. But is it fair to say we probably reached a point where we'd kind of subconsciously accepted the playoffs might be a bit of a big leap this season?
Yeah, I had some meetings around the early stages of a couple of draws before the 9 games, just regarding next year's plans and budgets and all that stuff. So we kind of accepted where we were, and it was more of a trial and error really, the last 12 games. That was the plan anyway, but one win led to another, and then you've always got that hope, and just amazing talking about it now really, to say we've won 9 games on the bounce and 1 defeat in 15 after an indifferent season.
I don't want to say at any point that the games weren't difficult or that it looked easy or anything like that. It's disrespectful. But as the wins built up, as tends to be the way with momentum, the lads looked more and more comfortable, didn't they? You felt at ease with what you were watching.
Confidence, biggest thing. You try all season, pre-season, to build confidence, because that's when you are a better player of yourself. Coupled with big players returning, coupled with a couple of big signings, coupled with probably getting rid of some players, freshening it up around the place, and yeah, we built some cracking momentum which achieved our end goal really.
We'll keep it positive obviously, because it's a very positive thing that's happened, but you mentioned a couple of those tough points. I think of Kings Lynn away, Chester away. As a manager, are you ever at that point thinking, what on earth's going on here? Did you ever allow yourself that kind of thought?
Yeah, me and Jim reflect all the time, and we had some dark days here last season because the expectation was so high after last season. We've just done it the wrong way around. Well, in fact, we've done it the right way around, haven't we? So yeah, we've had some challenging moments, but in hindsight, I'm really glad those things have happened now, because it's made me better, and hopefully this might, by me being better, improves the football club.
And it sounds kind of a cliche, but it's all the sweeter for having had the tough months of the season, I suppose, because you've come through it, don't you? You perhaps don't celebrate maybe as hard if you haven't gone through those difficult times.
Yeah, a load of adversity this season. Performances, players, fans. Everyone questions when you're not getting the results. But we believed in what we were doing. Had to tweak a few things as well, and you do that by learning. And thankfully, they've worked, especially the last 3 months. We managed the team really well. It was very easy to manage actually, but always is when you're winning. I thought performances were good as well.
And as a management team and a group, now we said we stuck to principles and the basics stayed the same. How difficult was that, kind of when you were moving back up in the momentum stakes? How hard is that to have kept everything the same and to kept plugging away? Because it must have been temptation at some stage to throw the bathwater out.
Yeah, I think well, the players drove it the last 10 weeks really. I helped them, Jimmy helped them, staff helped them, but the players drove it, had more of a winning mentality feel in training, which then went out onto the football field. And you know, when you look back at the results, we were convincing winners in all the 9 games for me really. You know, and you played Kings Lynn and filed away in those situations. So we looked like a top of the table team the last 10 weeks. But there was no build up to it, it just kind of happened, bang on, full on. So
when did you believe yourself, because you can tell me now, when did you believe that we were going to make the playoffs first of all?
Well, the last game of the season, I banned phones. I'm not sure if anyone listened to me, but I banned phones because I didn't want the whole show business of we're in, we're out, we're in, we're out. I just think that would unsettle the lads. I thought with the crowd's energy that we weren't in, I thought it was quite flat, but having known what they know now, we were in quite comfortably quite early on. I knew probably with about 5 minutes to go when Joe Leasley of all people just was telling me everything. So that's when I knew, and I thought great achievement. Then going into the playoffs, I thought we had a real good chance with the team we had on the field and the momentum we built.
if that's when you knew about getting into the playoffs, when did you believe in yourself going into the playoffs that we've got a chance of doing this? Was it at the beginning or
in the 92nd minute of the Brackley game? I actually
Honestly?
shook hands with the lads and I thought, yeah, we've done it with 2 minutes to spare. No, I was the least confident I was Alfreton away, because can't control a lot of that game, the way they play, the constant pressure they put into your box. It was an uncontrollable, but then when I saw the crowd at the start, I thought these could help us. Kings Lynn, I felt a good vibe after Ashley Hemmings' penalty miss. Best performance of the season for me. And a Brackley performance, which I was confident going into the game, was a really, really professional one.
Yeah, the Alfreton one was, if Alfreton was going to war and Kings Lynn was blowing away at another team, Brackley was kind of a combination of the two, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think you always have to weather the storm in big games, and we weathered it for the first 10 minutes, and that was it really. Got a goal at a good time, silenced the crowd, and albeit it was 1-0, it was quite a comfortable 1-0 the way we were playing. There was only one team who was going to score the next goal, and that was us.
Talk to me about coming back up Who Road on the team coach at about, I don't know, 9, 10 o'clock, whatever it was. It had the feeling that we were walking back into something big, but that was something else, wasn't it?
Yeah, best feeling I've had in football, and I've had a lot of good moments. Played for a lot of games for various clubs, but that was it shocked me, to be honest, in a good way, and I feel that's what we can do at this club. The fans back us all the time. They get on your back as well, which they deserve to do, but they always come out in numbers when we're winning games, and the feel-good factors here, and we've seen plenty of that the last 2 years.
Just looking at players over the course of the season, we said it when he scooped his end-of-season awards, probably the most consistent of your performers, maybe Christian Pearce last season, is that fair?
Yeah, well, played the most games. Through our rough patch in October, he was ever present, and I think that speaks volumes, and he's done everything we expected him to do. He's an experienced centre half who's excelled at the level, and looking forward to working with him. He'll take those performances and his confidence into the next level for sure.
You can take your share of credit, I hope, for the switch up in Ashley Hemmings' position and the form that followed that. Obviously he's put in the hard yards and he's scored the goals, but you must get some level of satisfaction as a manager for seeing how that's paid off for him.
Yeah, he'll tell you. He'll be the first one to say he's over the season. He had a poor first half of the season, along with a few of the lads. Went for a bit of adversity, switched left back, was filled in for Caleb, wasn't quite working for him on the right, we moved into the left, but then all of a sudden it clicked, and we have seen, for me, I believe, the best player in the league the last 8 weeks. It's just been a joy to watch. Looks threatening, playing next to his mate, which has helped, and they've both been really good.
Did you think the injuries were going to kill us at some point? Because around that kind of Christmas time, it was horrific, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I don't think people realise that sometimes when you lose a Nat Knight Percival, you can't replace a Nat Knight Percival, and then you lose Shane Byrne for 6 weeks, you can't replace a Shane Byrne. Tried to bring players in on loan, didn't work. A couple of players left, which was disappointing, but that's a season. No managers feel sorry for you because they all have their own problems. What I will say about the group is credit to them. They drove themselves through that tough period and have come out of all the rewards at the end.
Yeah, it probably doesn't, because we finished so strongly, and I think you kept the same starting 11 for 7 or 8 games, something like that. It doesn't really reflect the amount of change that went on within the squad over the course of the season. It was quite a volatile, not in terms of atmosphere, but the number of changes that were being made. It had to be quite disjointed because of what was going on, and that's another thing that have come through well, in fairness. For
sure, and it's always nice for a manager to pick the same team. It means something's going right. Joy to manage the last 8 weeks. Very easy for me. Just controlling the controllables. Really, I was the last 10 weeks with help from the staff. But you get paid to make them tough decisions in the start of the season. Bringing the loans in, did they work? Did they not work? Putting Kyle Lissamore in when the 2 lads were in traffic at Hereford. It's things like that, and sometimes it benefits you, sometimes it doesn't.
Your favourite? I suppose if you take away the 3 playoff games, your favourite kind of moment of the season? What was the most satisfying all-round performance for you of the season? If
you take away the playoff games, I think Fold Away was excellent. We played them 5 times this season. That just shows where we are. We're probably playing first game of the season, won't we, in August? Fold away was excellent, and we had to go there and win, and by God we won convincingly. So I think that was up there, one of the best.
Yeah, cliche of 9 cup finals, isn't it? Because you knew if you dropped points in any of them, as evidenced by the fact that we kind of squeaked in on results elsewhere on the last day, it was done for, wasn't it? So they kind of lived on the edge of the sword, so to speak.
Yeah, and the team talks become different, training became different, the messages across to the lads become different. It was like a relegation fight, promotion fight. You have to win the next game. Not we're managing this and we've got to defend this lead or defend the draw. We had to win the games, and with that mindset, churned out our best performances. So I've learned from that. Not saying that's got to happen every game of the season, but definitely learned from that bit of adversity.